Hello, and welcome everyone to Shimmy Tech Zoom for Beginners. Hi, it's Isadora of Curvaceous Belly Dance, and today I am bringing you the basics of how to run Zoom for your workshops, for shows, for performances, for anything that you really want to try Zoom for. This is for people who have attended meetings, who've used Zoom a little bit, but want to get a little bit more involved with how best to use Zoom. I have been learning a lot of this from doing my own showcases, and this has been a lot of work and it's been a lot of learning, but I thought it would be really nice to share it with you guys. If you guys really like the videos, if there's something else you want to see, please be in contact, leave comments, give likes to this post. Also, I'm going to be honest, if you'd like to leave a tip as a thank you for anything you've learned on this video, there's the PayPal link. Please feel free. I would really appreciate the support so I can keep doing these videos and offering you more information and to help you really take your tech even further. I definitely have plans for even further with this video series. So first up, let's get right into it. I'm going to take you right from the very beginning to how to do a Zoom meeting. So when we first start, we are going to start with, you can see on the screen, this is how it's going to look when you want to set up your first meeting. You're going to give it a name. This is just something so that people can recognize when they see it in the email link what you're sending. You can drop in a quick description. You don't have to get fancy in this kind of stuff. That's not a really big thing. Next, you pick the when, the where, all that basic information. You can probably follow along. The big things I want to show you is things like, do you want to come in with video? I tend to have these both participants and for myself, I turn them off. That's a personal opinion. Next, I'm showing you the audio. This one, of course, you get the telephone audio. You want to give people options for both. You also have the next few, yes. Personally, so you have meeting options. This is where I really want to talk to you guys about this specific portion of starting a meeting. Personally, you have the allow participants in any time. That's a great choice because sometimes people, due to Wi-Fi issues or other issues, will have to leave the meeting. You want them to be able to come back in. That's just a nicety, and it's a good thing to have unless you are doing maybe meditation or other sorts of things where you don't have access to your computer, and so you don't want to let people back in. But I would pre-warn everyone that that is the way it's going to go in your meetings. As long as they're forewarned, that's where I would go personally. The next thing you have, this is one that's a huge one for me. I personally love this one. I always click this box. This is mute the participants when they enter. Anytime somebody gets kicked out, if they come back in, if their microphone kicks back on, they're going to disrupt the show. And that's when you get all that, like, people talking about in the corner, can you get me my cuppa? Oh, can you get this? Can you get that? Oh, shut up, dog. Whatever's going on in the background. For me personally, I always mute the participants. If you click on this one, it's great because it's already done before you start the meeting. This is the rules of your whole meeting right from the beginning. Then you have require authentic the authentic yeah. I can't speak. Yeah, that one is a choice up to you. Automatically record the meeting. This is another one. I have a terrible habit sometimes of forgetting to click record. This is a good one because it starts the recording right from the start, so you can't have any accidents. It's a preference. I tend to use it, but again, it comes back to what you want to do. Then you have the option of offering other people in for hosts. So if you're doing this as a partnership with somebody else, you can give them shared host duties, which gives them more options within the Zoom meeting. These are really good. The only thing to keep in mind, they have to have an actual Zoom account, not a paid one, but they have to have been registered with Zoom in order to be a host. So that is something to keep in mind. But if they are, then you can go ahead and do it. So from that point, you would click save. and then your meeting would be started. So we get all that in there, and then we have our started meeting. That um, this is me kicking in the videos. So there's me. Sorry, you got to watch me. So I'm pointing out on the side, you can obviously see where you have the access as the host to mute people. You do not have the ability to unmute anyone. You can click on mute on, sorry, it becomes unmute. You can click on that and it will do a pop-up box to the person that you are requesting to unmute themselves, but they have the only power to unmute themselves. You do have obviously the power within the screens to mute all. Definitely take advantage of that before any of your shows or things are going to start. That is a feature that definitely comes in handy right before you're having performances or before anything's going to start on your show or your workshop. Um, so you also have like more, which allows you to make other people hosts. You can turn your camera on and off. It's all the basic kind of features over there. The other thing that I kind of wanted to show you is there that you have the gallery view and you have the speaker view. That one works a little easier to show when you have both cameras on. I didn't actually have both cameras on at the point, so it's a little tricky to see. Things to keep in mind is the fact that we also have as hosts the choice of how we want to show the screen. The main one we're going to use is going to be spotlight. When you click on a person, so if you clicked on this person up here, you would get 3 dots, and then that will allow you to choose spotlight. You're going to click spotlight, and that will make this person switch over to being the main one. Obviously, you can't switch over when one person's not on video, so I'm just for example. um, the other option is obviously you pick up here and you can go from gallery view, which this would have as many people as you want. There's a place to choose how many people to show in that window. But either that or you can click it to speaker view. When you're running the majority of your classes or your shows or whatnot, you're going to end up wanting to choose to spotlight the person that you're choosing to look at. The speaker view is good that when you come to the end of an event, if you are or having a discussion, it is a much nicer way to have a discussion is choosing speaker view because you don't have to hunt people down to spotlight them, and it creates a more casual conversation. The next thing I wanted to talk about is that technically Zoom has added a multi spotlight feature. There, this is great, and a lot of us have wanted this for a long time. But the issues seem to come from if people have chosen the gallery view or the speaker view. Also, it seems to be, well, it definitely is a problem if people have not upgraded to the most recent Zoom. The majority of your followers are not going to be on the most up to date version of the program. So this is something to really keep in mind. If you decide to use this feature, I definitely suggest to you that in your information that you send out is to try to encourage everyone to have the latest updates for their Zoom. Also, as we learn the feature, I would double check that it has the correct, that you suggest also to everyone to switch to the correct view. Um, it's something up and coming. I haven't personally been using it yet because so far my troops have either been recorded or and edited together, have been recorded together, or have performed in the same studio. But obviously, as lockdowns change and things move around, we may come back to you wanting to try and use that feature, which that view basically gives you multiple windows in one window so that you can see the players that you choose by spotlighting those chosen people. So that's something to keep in mind and to have a lookout for. So that's mostly about view. The next little bit is just something else that I find kind of comes up frequently is the chat feature over on the side that we don't always find everyone understanding this feature, even ourselves. I have had so many hosts miss this one, including myself. So the big thing is that when you want to send a chat, you can choose everyone, or you hit the drag down. Because there's only two people, it's hard to show you, but when you click on it, it will give you a list of names. You can scan down, you can choose the name or start typing the name, and it'll give you the person that you want, and then you can choose to send a private message to the person. The one silly thing about Zoom is, it's good and bad, is you have to then go and choose who you want to speak to again afterwards, which includes putting it back to everyone if you want to speak back to the group. So it has been a really big help to refer to my dancers when I'm doing shows to say, please keep an eye on the chats in case we need to tell you anything. We have used this feature a few times. It is great to have. It's also, like I said, you start to find people going, oh, I love this. And they start chatting, and you're like, that message was meant for everyone or someone else. So that's something, just again, since we're teaching all the features, this is something I just thought is comes up. I thought I'd mention. So there's that. The next thing we're going to get to is get into the meat and bones of all this. We are going to go to, this is your taskbar. So in your taskbar down at the bottom, you've got your mute, you've got stop video, you have security, you have participants. There's a small arrow up. That one takes you into invite for more people. Then you have your chat, your share screen, your record, and your reactions. Those are your main things that you're going to be using. So our next big important one is actually to get into these two right here. These two come up super frequently. This is your audio. The first one, the microphone, is for your audio. It gives you the choice of mute. The up arrow gives you more choices. You have the stop video, and that gives you also an up arrow for more choices. When we get into we're going to go ahead and deal with the microphone first. So this is that up arrow, as I said. This gives you the choice to select your microphone, so this is, in my case, you have the that is my audio, or I have the same system. It's a choice based on what system I'm using. In the future, I will talk a bit more about how to pick external audio or what is good choices for that. But for now, most people are going to choose same as system. Same as your speaker, it's going to be same as system. Test speaker and microphone is an option you can click, and it'll take you to the next screen I will show you. We have switched to phone audio. That is if you're using a phone, or leave computer audio. Those are your options. We then click on to audio settings. Then we click that, we get this next screen. This one has your test mic. This is where you can decide what the volume is that you want to use. You have automatically adjust the microphone view. Now, we are finding more and more that when we're doing music and other things, that we don't always want to suppress the background noise. It depends on the way in which you are actually delivering the music. If you're running the music through your computer, most of these features don't actually matter. They actually only come in when you're speaking. If you are running your music a different way, then you might want to choose these. I would suggest playing around with your system and see what works best, whether it's auto, low, medium, or high. That's for suppressing the background noise. You have also, again, the automatically join with audio settings for the meetings, mute your microphone when joining. I usually suggest that. As I said earlier, you have the option of press and hold space key to temporarily unmute yourself, which is lovely if you're muted during a showcase, but you need to just quickly say, hey, stop, or whatever. So there's that. Then you've got into your advanced settings. This again is if you are not running your music through your computer itself. We will discuss sharing the computer sound in the next bit. If you are playing an external sound, then I would look into using the music settings down at the bottom. Otherwise, for most people, if you're doing the computer sound itself to share the music, then I would not worry about too many of these features yet, but they are something to give a try and again, see what you think. So now that we've discussed sort of the basics of how audio works, let's talk about video. So in video, that was just using the same screen. So we've gone back and imagine the toolbar down on your bottom again. Now we're choosing video. By choosing video, this is what's going to actually open up for you. So with these options, you can see I have a lot of camera choices. Most people will only have the integrated webcam. In my case, I'm actually using my phone currently, and I will explain in another video what I'm doing with my phone. But you can see it's one of the options that's listed. I would choose my camera. If I'm going to swap cameras and try something different, then I would obviously choose which source I'm going to use. Then we'll also talk about some of this other stuff in the future too. But virtual backgrounds, that's how you choose images, pictures, whatever to put behind you, keeping in mind that not all integrated webcams show these very well. Some of them are really slow, so you get a very pixelated design. Some of them also you have to keep in mind about the clothing you're wearing and your background on whether they work or not. But there's something you can definitely play with. You also have video filters you can choose and video settings. So we're going to click onto video settings. The screen you're going to see. Up above, you'll have a picture like you're seeing of me. It'll be your webcam picture. And underneath will be my video, mirror my video, touch up my appearance, and all these other features. Is you can choose to either have them be able to see a mirror image, which would give them a reversed image, but that would match to make the left the right and vice versa. Or you can swap it so that they can see the opposite. Play around with this feature and see what works best for you and your students, but it is definitely a great option for teaching dance so that you lose all that confusion on how you want to teach. So it's a fantastic thing to try. Touch up my appearance. This one's great because for some webcams, I will be honest, my integrated webcam for my poor computer is horrible. And I will be discussing webcams very shortly. It's one of my next topics. So I want to be able to show you how I've improved mine, but I can still play a little bit with this feature. It will sharpen just a touch depending on how bad your webcam is. The adjustment for low light is nice too, depending on if your camera takes in too much light or too little light. Mine tends to take in too much light, so that's where I get a little bit of different issues. But have a play, they can at least give you some improvement. And some improvement is always better than none. Um, Always display participant names on their videos. That is a really helpful thing if you're doing shows and whatnot, because you can be able to find your dancers. Turn off my video when joining meeting. That's, again, it's a preference. Do you want to start with your video on or do you want to turn it off? Always show video preview dialog when joining. That's just a little information thing. Hide non-video participants. This one I personally do. It will give you, when you're hosting events or even student things, it's nice to be able to see the students that actually have their cameras on. That way you know who you're interacting, and it does make you feel a little bit more in touch with people. So I definitely suggest hiding the non-video participants because not everybody wants to have their video turned on or has the capability at that time. But this way, it puts them at the end of the gallery instead of interspersing them throughout the entire gallery, which is especially good if you have a huge event. So that's a personal thing I would choose. See myself as the active speaker when speaking. That's basically creating a speaker automatic speaker view. That's a preference. I don't tend to because I tend to choose to spotlight. So that's, again, these are just options for you to choose as you go along. The next thing, so we've gotten a little bit about how to use the audio and a little bit how to use the video. So share screen is the next thing. This is probably one of the features most of us use the most, to be honest. Um, so when you are in the main toolbar, you will see a bright green box that says share screen. So when we click on share screen, we get window size sharing. We can choose whether we want the full size mode, maximum window. We can kind of figure out how we want to do it. Most of us are going to want full screen because you want them to see the entirety of their screen as your video that you are sharing. They will still get views of small boxes of people, but this is the main thing you want to see. You can then choose things like a remote control for application. I haven't played with that one personally too much. Side by side mode, that gives you two images, that gives you a person and that side by side. You also have silence, so that keeps everything that's on your computer quiet, so you don't hear those ding notifications if you actually accidentally forgot and left a program open. That is a good one to keep off. Share individual window, you can choose, or share all windows from application. So it kind of depends what you're tending to want to share. The majority of us are going to be sharing a video or sound. So this is where we're going to stick with, is that idea. Then this is going to be the image that you see first. The top, it says basic, advanced, or files. You have on the first page, you will see some of the programs that you have currently ran that you have options of. So you can use those if you were wanting to. You have whiteboard, you have iPhone, iPad. There's a couple little options there. The majority of us are going to be clicking on to advanced. So this screen is what you get when you open up an advanced. Advanced gives you the option for portion of screen, which this is the best bet for when you're sharing videos. And I definitely think that because that way you have some of the other stuff like Zoom and things that are hidden in the background, you can actually focus on just preparing that video that you wanted to do. You also have music or computer sound only and content from second camera. Again, this depends on what you're aiming to do at this point. When you get over to choosing that portion of screen that I just showed you, screen, you can see that green box is fully around the video that I'm sharing. That is what's actually going out to all of the people that are following me on Zoom. So the next thing you're going to want to see is that on the top you are screen sharing and stop share. So as your video is preparing to end, this is one of the most important features. In case you have anything, and this goes for twice, this goes for anything you're doing audio wise or video wise. If you're sharing a video and it might possibly go into the next video, hit stop before you hit stop share, because otherwise you will have to refine the video or audio file you are sharing, and you will have to mute it or stop it and then come back to your Zoom screen, because once you hit stop share, it takes that screen away and brings your Zoom back up. So make sure that when you're done with your video, you're going to want to hit stop on your source file and then hit stop share. Lesson learned the hard way numerous times. We also have, going back, we have the option for the music or computer sound only. When you click that, what it's going to do is it's going to give you the option of pulling up your audio files. So you can have your audio files in a playlist already preset. One thing I personally find very helpful and to alleviate stress, which when we're hosting these kind of meetings, you want to find ways to relieve stress for yourself and make it easier, is try on your playlist to pre-record a set amount of silence. So you have a track of silence in between each audio track. By having that pre-saved, you will be able to be a little late to hit stop on your audio files, but the next song won't go out to your audience. So that's something to think about. And again, coming back, same way as before, you definitely want to hit stop share only after you have already hit stop on your audio file, because otherwise it will continue to play. So then we get, so that's pretty much here. The other thing I wanted to make sure and discuss with you is there is an option in the settings for accessibility, which gives you the option for closed captions. And you can then look at the other features that you might want from there and decide how you would like to do that, because it is a really good thing to have for having that ability to actually, be able to talk to your audience, whether they can, you know, any which way you want. So that is pretty close to the main features of Zoom. We have the ability to share sound. Um, One of the big things I have learned from doing from doing shows is the sound quality is much improved from sharing audio from your own system. It also means if there is any lag in the music going out to the audience, it's almost the identical lag to the audience watching, as what the audience watching the audience watching, as well as the dancer performing to the sound. So we found that there was a little less lag, and the dancers found a smoother performance by sharing the audio through the host. It also is with sharing video, there is definite issues with Zoom. We will have to talk about that another time. There is a lot to unpack in that, but it is available and it is doable, but you do need to be mindful that because of the way the Zoom packages content, that you can lose quality. Limited by how good your computer and internet are at that current point. Your best bet is to use as little on your computer at the time you are running Zoom as possible. Also, in your house, try to limit any extra internet usage so that you can use the majority. If you can be on a landline, if you can be lined in versus Wi-Fi, you will see some improvement as well. Um, it's tricky because obviously we're all trying to work within the boundaries of what we have, and not everything is going to be perfect. So it is a tricky thing to figure in, but you do your best. We have also found with time that muting everybody takes out a lot of the distraction from the sounds. We have also found that in some cases, reducing videos being on can help with some increased quality in the Zoom. Those are all preferences, whether you want to tell your audience or not. On mute, I say definitely always mute everybody. With the audio, the video, that's a preference. Also wanted to mention real quick with recording. Recording is super easy on Zoom. Once it's done, as long as you have space on the computer that you're using, or you can send it to cloud, that what'll happen is after you've closed a meeting that you have recorded, you will get a pop-up window that lets you know that Zoom has recorded your meeting or whatever portion of meeting you've chosen to record. Um, then you also have a file that allows you to actually access comments. They're not formatted very well, but you can dig them up and they are a big help if you want to have a look at those or share them. But for the most part, I think we've touched on the majority of what makes Zoom Zoom and how to use it for running any type of event you're interested in hosting. If you have any questions, please definitely feel free to get in contact with me. Definitely, if you like this video, feel free to tip me. It would be very much appreciated. The support means a lot, and it also helps me be able to continue doing tasks like this for you guys so we can focus on more of the tech that's aimed at actual dancers. The other thing is please like and share, and make sure ask your questions in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think, and if there was something you feel like I've missed, definitely let me know. I will be doing more content on more tech that will include some of the topics we briefly touched on here or that I've hinted at, like webcams. Anyway, I really hope you like this video. Thank you so much for coming. I'm Isadora from Shimmy Deck. Woo!